with you, my brother?
What's up with it, my brother?
Oh man, shoot, man, it's a pleasure to have you on here, man. We can get this thing started.
Yes, sir.
Technology is amazing, huh?
Yeah, man. You can utilize it in a good way, you know?
Man, I see you still looking young, man. You still looking like, man, you 25, 30 years old, man. What's the secret, man?
Man, just give God praise every day and, you know, listen to his commandment, enjoy your family, love your family.
For sure,
That's
man.
my secret, you know?
For sure. So we gonna get started, man. I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of Steal the Spotlight, man. It's been so long, man. We've been doing a whole bunch of content, man. I had to get back to my baby, man. In this episode, man, we have a very, very good friend of mine who also happens to be a very legendary vocalist, man. One of the top hook masters, man. One of the top songwriters, man. Not just the West Coast, man, but in the entire game, man. And he needs no introduction, man. Mr. Jerry Long, Kokane. What's happening with you, brother?
Appreciate you, my brother. You know, we go back like golf hats and crocus sacks, you know?
Sure, man, for sure, man. It's an honor and a privilege, man, to be sitting here with you, man. So I see you, you don't do a whole bunch of interviews, but the ones I see, man, people don't really go into depth and the detail because you're such a deep person, man. There's a lot of layers to you, man. A lot of, like a long story career, man. Like, we gonna take it back to the basics, man. When did you discover, man, that you were just had these magnificent hooks, man?
Well, you know, it's about being exposed. You already know. You know, coming from them ghettos, man. You know, them black families, you know what I mean? You know, we were blessed enough to be exposed to a lot of soul and funk and original hip hop. You know, and coming from that lineage who my father was, it was just like embedded in my DNA. You know, so I can also contribute that to, you know, Code 187, my cousin, and Eazy E. You know, they gave me an opportunity of a lifetime, took me under their wing, so did Laylaw. And Hutch would always challenge me to do different type of stuff because he know I was crazy enough to do it. You know, it was Rick James and, you know, people that are George Clinton, Parliament, whoever it was, people that inspired us. And, you know, they put the challenge up and I was up to take it. And you know, they accepted it and it kind of created a safe haven, you know, at the end of 89, going into 90, you know, by just simply being exposed. So I can contribute that a lot, you know, to Eazy E, Laylaw, and Code 187.
All right, man. So I want to go back, man. I want you to go back in time with me, man. And you mentioned Eazy E a lot, man. I know you show a lot of love for Eazy, man. He's a person, like you said, him and above the law, they pretty much, you know, gave you the opportunity, man, to become who you are. Take me back to the day, man, when you first met Eazy.
It was like towards the end of 89, you know, Above the Law was just about to release Living Like Hustlers. And I was running around with Laylaw as well, because actually I was signed to a pre-production, which was Law House, and then eventually signed to Ruthless Records. So when I met E, it was cool. You know, E was just 100. You know, he didn't make you feel like, you know, he's so big and he need 10,000 bodyguards to, you know, come through. He was just a solid down-to-earth cat. You know what I mean? So I already knew, you know, I was at the right place first, you know, because my cousin and Above the Law was at that spot. But we was riding to them, you know, we seen the Boys in the Hood come out. And, you know, I was kind of wanted to go that direction because actually I had a record come out like 86. It never did have no critic acclaim, but it was with my Uncle Willie Hutch, you know, because we did a record at his studio and we actually did a record. But then when I started hearing NWA and Loving Ice-T and Bobby Jimmy and the Critters and, you know what I'm saying, Egyptian Lover and Joe Cooley and Mixmaster Spade and seeing all those cats do their thing, you know, Uncle Willie Hutch really didn't understand that, hey, you know, because he was like the R&B thing, you know what I mean? But then once they came along, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? They doing some stuff that I really want to do. And then once I found out that Hutch, Code 187 group Above the Law, you know, once they got put on by Ruthless, you know, and then I, you know, hooked back up with Hutch. I was like, okay, I'm at the right spot where I need to be. So it was cool, man. It was put into the universe already, you know, I think in the early 80s that I was going to be at Ruthless Records, and meeting Eazy E, man, he meant everything to us because that was our West Coast Russell Simmons.
Yeah, for sure.
And he meant more than that because, you know, a lot of people say a lot of things, and I give credit to when credit's due to everybody. But if that man didn't put up his hustle money, his trap money, none of this wouldn't make sense. So that's why I honored the dude because he did more behind closed doors. And I'm a disciple of those times as well as a participant. So it's good to honor our brothers, you know, and fill in the gap sometimes. You know, Hollywood won't do that, but we still here.
Yeah, exactly, man. So like, you know, going back, 'cause we gonna stay on Eazy for a minute, man. It was one of the brothers, man, a pivotal pioneer in West Coast hip hop named DJ Bobcat. And I remember he was telling me one day, I was at a fair in Pomona and saw this brother, man, that had the most magnificent vocals I've ever heard in my life, I've ever witnessed, man. You know that Bobcat wanted to sign you, man?
Man, shout out to Bobcat, 1988.
Yeah.
He wanted to sign me. We had a group, and he used to come up to Montclair, this spot called Rock Around the Clock, and always DJing. You know, I know who he was because, you know, he hung around the Shell of LAs of that time, you know what I mean? And it was just like, man, I'm with it. You know, as soon as I found out who he was connected to, you know, I was a fan of LL Cool J and still is. And we was actually gonna sign before the Ruthless thing, and I hooked back up with Hutch. Yeah, I was gonna sign with the OG, man. He was digging us, and we, you know, of course, was fans and digging him as well. So, yeah, that's some history that a lot of people just don't know about.
A lot of people don't know, man. I'm just privy enough, man, to be, you know, all these guys are my friends, so I hear the different stories, man, and I'm just privileged enough to hear them, man, you know. And I want to know about Eazy because the thing is, Eazy did have this way of making you feel like you wasn't around no, like as powerful as he was, you feel like you was just kicking it with one of the regular homies, man. So go back, man, when Eazy told you he wanted to mess with you, man, did he just tell you, so what's up, Kokane, we'll put you down with Ruthless? How did that come about, like?
Man, you know, he loved Above the Law. You know what I'm saying? He loved Code 187, the whole group, Laylaw. And for me to come under the Ruthless card, it was like DOC at that time. You know what I'm saying? Being introduced to NWA, because you got to realize he made the biggest deal ever was before. You know, everybody, your Master P's and your Death Rows, you know, he made a big deal at Epic Records. You know what I mean? That was Poor, Broken, Lonely. That was Kokane. And of course, that was Above the Law. You know what I mean? So Eazy was like, you know, he was just like, man, I love y'all doing what y'all doing. Compton do what we do. But then I love how Pomona, how y'all bring y'all sound. Because it was more on a slower tip, like Gucci Rubber Band, Parliament, Barcades, with the pickup, you know, and the VSOP with the Daryl Hall, everything is fine. When you know, we wanted to be different from NWA. Because NWA was SP12 and they was all on that level. So they was like a modern day, in my humble opinion, at that time, NWA was like a modern day West Coast version of Public Enemy.
Thank you, man. You know, I tell a lot of people that, and a lot of people don't get it because Dre back then, you know, it's kind of funny. Before Above the Law came along, Dre was kind of on his breakbeat tip.
Yeah.
A lot of breakbeat and a lot of samples, you know, mashed together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it was. He's a DJ. Dre's the coolest DJ, coolest producer. So some of the coolest producers in the world are DJs. You know what I mean? But, you know, we brought a different essence. And see, that's what Eazy, you know, he was able to have vision. You know, like, we didn't understand the Cleveland sound and these young kids, Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know, but Eazy seen past that. Even when hooking up with Toker, you know what I mean? At a time to when we just didn't do that. But through music and through respecting arts and cultures, and we suffering under the same oppression with the black and brown, now it's starting to be better. but he was on the front lines, him and Toker, of doing that. So basically, man, he was a visionary, and he made you feel that your vision is important. A lot of niggas don't do that, and a lot of they want it one way. Nah, he said, man, y'all niggas just do y'all, nigga. Nigga, I'm doing me. Y'all do y'all, and that's what made the relationship even better. Is because Compton was on the map. It's like Kendrick Lamar, the branches, but what Eazy and Dre and all those fellas did, they are the root. So it was good coming from the cloth of Pomona, because that Compton brother allowed a small town, LA County, to really spread across the board and see what we get down with this here G-Funk. So Eazy was not only a visionary, but he was the realest nigga to let a nigga just simply do what he do.
Exactly. Let the siren go by, man. We down here, man, and big steal in the hour of chaos right now, man, with this stuff going on in LA. But let me take that back, man, like to the Ruthless days, man. So at one time, man, Eazy was signing all these groups, man, just giving a lot of brothers opportunities, man, and everything. They had a lot of people under their tutelage, man. I talked to Warren G a few weeks ago, man. He was telling me how he got his start with Above the Law,
Yeah.
He was running with, he was rolling with Above the Law first, man. Then we had a situation, man, where Eazy, you were on that classic NWA album.
Right.
How did you wind up getting on that? Tell me about that process, man. How did you wind up getting down with the group, man?
Well, like I said, Eazy gave us, if you were dope and you come different, put that shit on. And it reminded me a lot what George and Bootsy used to tell me. It's the same thing how basically Eazy ran his stuff, but the difference between, the NWA and what we did, it was crazy because Eazy really let us have creative control. But Eazy and Dr. Dre would always argue about creative differences. I mean, I was right there, brother, at Audio Achievements. You know what I'm saying?
Over in Torrance?
Yeah, in Torrance, and Donovan the Dirt Biker. You know what I mean? So, but for some reason, Eazy would let us he would, like, y'all niggas is dope, man. I'm following y'all lead. You know what I mean? So once we start mixing it up and Eazy seeing what I can really do, we was in the mix of, we already finished the Nickel Slick Nigga Who Am I album. We did the, going into the Black Mafia, like, so he was like, man, I love Sweet Talk. I love all that shit you do, man. Man, y'all niggas got to be on it. And Dre vouched for it at that time, too, because Dre was like, man, believe it or not, man, Above the Law and Kokane influenced the whole camp like they influenced us. So they was like, man, we need some of that sweet talk, that slow shit on your shit, man, that you be doing. Well, all right, y'all. So I did that, and we, Hutch had his thing going on, and Dre had the beat, and we were able to get on that album. And I also, was fortunate to be a writer on Appetite of Destruction because I wrote Eazy 10 Gangsta Commandments. So, the whole thing of it is it's so real. Sometimes you can't even put words to it, but everything is it's just a blessing to see, the legacy, the revelation, the beefs, the forgiveness, the, people growing out of it, they get into another situation to be where it is right now. But it's a trip, man. The whole thing is a trip. So,
Yeah, it was such a pivotal time, man. And you have a situation, man, to where a couple of things started happening after that album, man. Did you have Dr. Dre's departure from the label, from Ruthless, and they went to get their thing with Death Row. You had to start the Death Row thing, which really, a lot of people don't know it was a possibility that y'all almost wound up over there.
Oh, yeah, we was all running together. Suge was our bodyguard, and DLC bodyguard, at that time. We was all running. West, rest in peace, West. Everybody was, that was the days, the good old days. You know what I'm saying? The rap sheet days. And it was just like, it's a trip to see, not to throw you up on what you were saying. It's a trip to see, being at the studio at Audio Achievement, seeing Warren G at that time, and him and Jewel having bad competitions, and Missy Lay come in, and Warren used to ski skirt with us to Kokane, California, because we both stayed with Hutch and on Cottonwood, and to see him talk about Snoop and Warren and Nate Dogg after he gonna come back from the armed service, and just seeing the whole shit just come together. So it's like we was already camp folks. You know, I didn't get a chance to meet Dog Pound yet until after the fact. They signed to Death Row and all that. But we were so tight that, yeah, the first actual people that was gonna run with the Death Row thing was Above the Law and Kokane, because things was at disarray at Ruthless at one time. You know, it was discrepancies on some of the business. And what Eazy did, Eazy was like, he didn't want to let us go. You know what I mean? So we was hot at one time. It wasn't so much that we was hot at Eric. We were so more hot at the confusion. Like, let's get this shit right. You know, so we rekindled our business relationship with Eazy E, Above the Law and Kokane. And then at that time, they didn't have nothing else to go up on. So prior to that, Snoop auditioned, him and Warren G, I remember like it's yesterday, in Inglewood, California, fam. They auditioned for Code 187 because Warren G was going to bring, you know, Snoop and Nate Dogg under the Above the Law card, just like I was. You know what I mean? But nothing didn't happen and transpire. And we wasn't so much thinking about dissing Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg. It was like he just got through auditioning. And then Dr. Dre said, man, Warren G brought this tape over there, and him and Hutch had a phone call, and Hutch gave him the blessing. Like, man, I ain't gonna hate, I'm working on finishing up Kokane shit. Snoop raw. And he was. And when I heard he freestyle, he was like, I told Hutch, I'm like, nigga, Snoop hard. You know, just what, and Warren. But then they went over to the Death Row thing, and we didn't even know. And we rekindled our business relationship. You kind of getting the pieces where it's putting together. And we went back and, you know, wrote it out with Eazy E, you know what I mean? And they wrote it out over there, but the trip was, it's like all the little theories and music and words and everything else, they took it with them, you know what I'm saying? They took our shit, you know what I'm saying? And years later, we laugh at it because we look at, man, when you're a great person, duplication is the best form of flattery. You know, when you get to a certain point, you know, everybody gets something for everybody. Look at the Beat It record. Michael Jackson got something from My Sharona. You know what I mean? So we understood how we grew, but at that time, it was like dope, because lyrics is like dope, ideas is like kilos. It's like you took our shit, you know, but years later, through the years, once the Death Row and once the Ruthless thing, like, you know, that was out the window. You know, everybody came back up to make some great records, as you've seen. In 2000, Doghouse was just shitting on everybody, man.
Exactly, man. You know, now we come to a pivotal part, man. Eric winds up passing away, man, and it left a lot of great music on the table. You know what I mean? How did Eazy's death affect you, man?
Oh, it was just like my grandparents. You know, there's one song that a lot of people remember, my brother, and that's a song called No Pain, No Gain. You know, and that was a song I wrote prior, of course, to Eazy passing, for my grandmother, because my grandmother was like my mom. I stayed with my grandparents. Mm-hmm. And it was something that, it was also a seed for Eric's funeral, because they played that particular record at his funeral. And come to find out, they played that particular record, No Pain, No Gain, at so many funerals, fam, that when I get so many messages over the years, it made me feel good, because it let me know that God used me, and it's bigger than just rap or talent or where you come from. No, it's just something that the universe, which is God, used me for that record that lasts forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's I remember, man, you know, Eazy E passing away, man. It was just I think it was kind of surreal for a lot of people, just period, in Los Angeles. Because see, Eazy was one of those cats that kind of touched everybody. I remember he had a little crib in Norwalk.
Oh yeah, we used to be at that spot all the time.
Yeah, and I got to slide up over there. That's how I met him. You know what I mean? That's how I met him. And I was kind of like telling the homie, man, this ain't Eazy's house, man. This ain't too far from where I live at.
Yeah,
you know?
he was humble.
But he was just a cool dude. When I met him, he was just like, what's up, big homie? And it was kind of like, man, I'm sitting here kicking it with Eazy. You know, you young, you trying to be cool. I'm trying to just play it off like, what's up, man? You know what I mean? Trying to be hard and stuff, man. But he was just such a cool cat, man. And where did you go? What were your options from there? Like once he passed away, man, I'm pretty sure that frees you up from any obligations that you had. You wouldn't go stay over there with Jerry Heller. Because you were signed to Ruthless to somebody else.
You mean Tamika Wright?
Tamika Wright.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna stay over there once Eazy passed. Yeah, go.
You went to stay over there with Tamika Wright. What were your options from there, man? Like, did you have any other options?
I didn't have no other options. Actually, my contract was up. I was a free agent. It didn't make no sense for me to stay over there. So I left the company and did a record with Yella called One More Nigga to Go with Scotty Brothers. You know what I mean? And when we did that record, it also spun off on a project called Fridays Only with me and Code 187. And that was when I just left Ruthless, you know, always gonna represent Ruthless. And then also I started doing a lot more hooks, like gang of hooks that year. And then meeting back up with Tupac. And he wanted me to be a part of the One Nation thing. And me and Spice won because we was running with him at least 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, since we hooked up, it was like around 3 months. But then the last 2 months, we started really putting in work. That's when I went over there at Can-Am. Me and Spice won and did the original Fortune and Fame. And we was actually supposed to go to Vegas, but at that time, I was working a record called For Riders Only. And I remember still like it was yesterday. You know, I'm on the phone with B Legit. And he said, man, you didn't hear? I was like, what, my nigga? He's like, Pac gone. You know, I thought the nigga was playing because I just seen him at the Jim Belushi movie. We just was in the studio of Chatsworth in the Valley. We was like, that's my nigga. That's our nigga. You know what I mean? And once I seen B Legit was like, you serious? I just dropped the phone, you know. I don't care how hard a nigga think he is, man. If you're a real G, you're gonna crack a crocodile tear for somebody that you really love, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, bam. It was like, first it was Train, because Train had passed in the fire. You know, DJ Train, he was the DJ for, DJ Train. And then Eazy, then Pop. So it was like heavy on my mind, you know what I'm saying? When you next to people, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't know who gonna get it. You know what I mean? So it put me in a dark place. I ain't even gonna lie, it put depression. I mean, a lot of brothers don't talk about this because they feel embarrassed or something. But over time, you know, I learned to talk about that. I was depressed. Like, damn. So I would get on. And that's when some of the start to get on made me go into a different universe doing music. But it was a catalyst for what I was struggling through, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like losing people that you're close to. But it kept me going. You know, I kept going through the years because I had something to go for. It's like, that's my family, man. It's like once Ruthless Records got, all the assets got frozen up with Ron Sweeney and Tamika Wright, you know what I mean? It's like, you talk about these times now, but that was back then. You know, I had to go for the gusto. 9 times me going to the studio, finding out where Too Short is, or E40, or whoever, or S.A. Homie, or whoever. I would do my thing, and 10 times out of 10, which is a blessing, they would always say, put cocaine on.
Yeah, because you wound up, man, and that's what I was going to lead up to. I just wanted you to say it. You went on a tear with the hook game, man, and I swear, you know, we've had people, man, with different areas of the hook masters, right? Like you had Akon at one time. Then you had Nate Dogg that was killing it, man. But nobody came close to Kokane. Not one, not no. In no way am I slighting them brothers or nothing like that.
Right.
You play some classic records, man. How many hooks? How many records? How many Kokane hooks are out there in the universe, man?
But it's a lot of, just put it, it's a lot of hooks over a 30-year span. And not only that, I'm known to be an MC. See, a lot of people see me do the hooks, but I'm collaborative, not just with the hooks, but also, as an MC. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
it's a lot of hooks, you know what I mean? But we didn't want to jack ourselves off too much, so we just put out 1,000, you know what I mean? That's it, mostfeaturedartist.com, but it's in the thousands, put it like that.
Yes, in the thousands, man, because it's something, and I've heard, and I never get into no negativity in my interviews, man. I'm not into that. We don't bring none of that negative energy over.
Right.
There was a lot of people for a minute, man. I heard a few imitators. Like I was listening to the new Jadakiss album one day when I was working for the publishing company. Because, we get music first sometimes when you're in the industry, you know what I mean? I heard the Jadakiss record, man, with Snoop and them on there. And I hit you and I said, Kokane. I heard that joint that you did with Jadakiss. And you said, I'm not on no song with Jadakiss, man. How did it feel, man? Did it piss you off sometimes, the biting that went down, man?
Man, it's, back then, it's a major biting. You know what I'm saying? But when I look at it now, the best form of flattery is duplication.
Yeah, man. But you know what?
I'm going to take the modest route because I learned, to be comfortable in my skin, to tell you the truth. When I need to ride, I pick my battles, but it's not no battle no more. You know what I mean? So that's why I plead the fifth on a lot of shit, because this energy that, hey, some of that energy was cool because it made me work stronger. So when you look at design, just a little bit different, the same people that are there, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. It's the reason why you do what you do. So every encounter that I may influence somebody and they, for whatever reason, don't want to credit me or whatever it is, I just simply go on and do my thing, because either you there, whether you do bad intentions or good intentions. I'm not saying you did bad, but let's just say you had the greatest intentions. It don't matter, at this point, it's 2020. You know what I mean? So I moved on with a lot of shit. You can't, and I control my own narrative. And that's one thing I had to do is not so much concentrate on what somebody did or whoever it is, because I didn't touch so many artists, but more so than the design. How did that make my artistry grow? It's not all the time. See, when people seem to have it all the time, they lose their dopeness. They lose what got them there, the struggle. And one thing that I was fortunate enough to always stay persistent, like I could have said either a nigga gonna throw in the tail or either I'm gonna keep that shit G's moving and keep going. I always kept it going because this is how, number one, I feed my family. So my motives is number one for them. But it's created a mountain of stuff. So that way, all the hard work that you do, if you stay on it, it's not in vain. It's just, it's savings, like a savings account. And that's what happened. I was able to work, and looked up. And I looked in the savings account in the vault, and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That's something, number one, I can leave a legacy to my family, because that's what the inspiration and the baton is held down, just like my dad. It's tribal. That's how our ancestors do. We part of the old school. This is how we move with the ancestors. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So you wound up doing some work with some everybody, man. How did you hook up with Diddy of all people?
Well, I got hooked up to him through a cat by the name of Donnie, who was doing a lot of management. Donnie and Big D, 6-0. They was doing a lot of stuff. So they linked that up. And Diddy called me. They got him on the line. I didn't think it was Diddy. So I kind of like hung up. And then he called back. You know, a lot of people got those stories, but this is true. Then he called back and said, I like your music. I'm a fan. But what he don't know, I was already connected to him because a couple of times we had seen him and Biggie, and they seen us above law, you know, when we were traveling. And Biggie was, a lot of people don't know, he loved Above the Law. You know, even the name, because we used to call ourselves Notorious Above the Law. It's on record. So I turned around, he's Notorious B.I.G. They were already in tune to what we were doing at Ruthless Records, Puppy. So that's what I found out through by just going out there, building with him in the studio in Miami, that he was like, hey man, I just went a fan, you know what I mean, of your music that you did with Dre in the Chronic 2000, because he really envied Dre. You know what I mean? Dre's a guy doing what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, man, but we were digging y'all, Black Superman, all that shit you did on Uncle Sam's Curse. He said, I remember your first records. I remember Why Did Anyone Call You Kokane? And I'm like, this is Diddy. So it's a trip how, you know, when you work towards something hard, that's recognized not only from your coast, but other factors from other coasts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think people realize, man, a lot of them cats pay a whole bunch of attention because some of the most, like my homeboy Doggy Diamonds, a cat from Brooklyn, New York, he one of the most versed people on West Coast hip hop that it is, you know, because I talked to him about certain records, and this is like a homeboy that's really like a real Brooklyn cat. He's like, yeah, son, I know about this, I know about Kokane, I know about Brother Lynch, you know what I mean? And it kind of trip you out, you know. But so tell me this, man, everything wound up coming kind of full circle for you, and you wound up on Doghouse Records, on Snoop Dogg's label.
All right.
How did that come about? Do you remember how that happened?
Oh, it was good. Prior to doing that, you know, he did the record and he was about to leave No Limit, you know what I mean? So once he, you know, did that, I was with a company called Street Institute with my boy Al Dog, and rest in peace, Hat. That was from Pomino Block Crip. We had a spot up in Upland, California, right down the street from Snoop's Claremont house. You know what I mean? So me and Trey D, Badass, rest in peace, Badass, Half Dead, they always used to be working with us. Also, Booyah Chop. You know what I mean? So once that kind of got shut down because the FBI shut that down, you know what I'm saying? Woo, they was on FBI files on me. It's no big secret. It's out there. You know what I mean? But Half Dead sent a kite and to Nate and Snoop, and we all got together and basically squashed what we, because it wasn't about no Ruthless Death Row. Like, nigga, I know you. Used to call my house a Rancho Cucamonga. Nigga, you audition for us, my nigga, you my nigga. Like, man, I mean, I like your music. We was talking about, I like your music even when we was dissing each other. No pain, no gain. We was like, you know what I'm saying? So we went to the Music Grinder in 1999 and hooked up with a cat named Meech Wells, who's Mary Wells' sons. And we did a record. The first record we did was with the East Siders, the don't. So, you know, the old George Clinton on the East Side present. And then we brought it back to the house in Claremont where Snoop is at. And it just cultivated something just great because it was a lot of dynamics around there, different producers from, you know, of course, Battle Cat, Meech Wells, Goldie was producing, Fred Reg, Jelly Bean, Sky Storage. There's just a lot of different elements, you know, that was over there. It was magical, you know what I mean? And just like, man, we already seen we had something. I was only supposed to do 2 albums, you know what I mean? 2 songs actually, but Snoop used me on a lot of stuff because it allowed him to pivot different. You know, after doing that, the South thing, one thing that was very instrumental in Snoop Dogg's pivot was what Kokane was able to bring, a major part over there, along with everybody else major part as well. So it was incredible, man. Them records, It's incredible.
That's crazy, man. That was actually some of the dopest music, man, that Snoop put out of that period, man, was the stuff with you over there with him, man, because I can't say I heard your influence, but I smelled the influence, man, because there was a lot of funk over there, you know what I mean?
Man, there was a whole lot of funk, a whole lot of gangster shit, a whole lot of everything going around. You know what I mean? But that's what made it so different. You know what I mean? It was organic. It was ghetto. It was gangster. It was, you know, it was some trapping going down. It was some drugs going around and all. But not to say that's something to write on the grandma to, but it's still a significant part of the culture. And when you see those records, you realize it's deeper than just making those records and going platinum, because something about music, in a weird way, it programs the ghetto and the culture. You know what I'm saying? So when I did those records, it allowed me to branch out and do a lot of stuff with more New York cats and just street cats from New Jersey to Boston to Philly to all that, because that's what music does. Show me where the music is right now, it affects the whole culture. And that's what those records did at that time. That's why you can go to your Brooklyn, you can go to the Bronx and all that, and they throwing up B's and C's and everywhere because of the music affected that culture. So we were, those records at Doghouse, they affected the culture in a major way, put it like that.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know, one of the things I always admired about you is your business sense. You have records, like I'm not talking about little bitty small records either, some pretty big monumental records. And you own all your own publishing too, right?
Yeah, I own all my shit.
See, a lot of, and that's pivotal because young people out there, your publishing is your mailbox money. That's the money, you know, when you're no longer performing and you know, a little old man, and you can walk to your mailbox, man, and get a check, man. A lot of people don't know owning publishing, man, is a big, big deal, man. And which leads me to my next question, man. I notice now with your music, man, you release your music 100% through you right now, right?
Right. We got our own digital platform, and, you know, of course, we do the hard copies and the other amenities as well.
Wow, man. What made you, how did you come to that in the game?
I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel. Prince was the first one on it. He showed people that having a website and not giving away all the hard work and having your own autonomy. He drew the blueprint for your Napsters, really, and your iTunes. They just hoodwinked him. You know what I'm saying? Because he was on to it. He made more money, you know what I mean? Saying, okay, thank y'all for doing what y'all doing. Now this is what I want to do. And all those people, you gotta look at Prince. Prince was on to something when people were laughing at him. You know what I'm saying? So I just take the same concept he has, and prior to him, what Eazy was able to do and what Russell Simmons was able to do, and say, hey, this shit is hidden in plain sight. Either you want to go out there and tap dance like Bojangles, or you want to handle your business. You know what I mean? So I was fortunate to have a wife that was intuitive to the business. You know, got it. Behind every real nigga is a real successful, good woman. You know what I mean? And she had that brain power, and I had to get up off my, my male chauvinistic thing for a second and say, let me listen. And I listened to her, and then I started listening to my kids, which they have aged to add some technology and add that young perspective to my game. And it's just that I sat back and listened. Ain't no rocket scientist. I can contribute everything that I've been successful starting my company 13 years ago because of my wife and kids. And that took the trajectory in that lane took me in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm able, a lot of people say, how you survive so long? It's just that I had to shift my energy. You know what I'm saying? And of course, going to matrix system, do what I had to do, but I had to shift my energy because that's the way I'm trying to evolve. You know what I mean? So if I'm trying to evolve in my health, I'm trying to evolve in my wealth. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to say, hey, if they did it, what makes you think I can't do it?
Exactly. You said something real pivotal, man. You talked about your kids, man. I heard this record, man. I had the pleasure of hearing, man. Your daughter is a monster.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
daddy,
well.
like daddy, man. She is hard. What's going on with her, man? Like, what's going on with her, man?
Oh man, she's ready. You know what I mean? But we believe in a slow cooked meal. You know, no fast food.
You got music out on her now, though, right?
We got tons of music on her and videos, but what we doing is doing things at the right time. You know what I'm saying? Like she got a lot of just hard shit, and then she got some turn up shit, a little bit of different everything. But right now, the frame of mind that the universe got her in is that she's putting out, you know, after this first record, because we about to drop a single on her called F Boy Signs. You know, she clowning with her and her posse, but she's really going to go into detail and things that is on her spirit, because it's not time to turn up right now.
Yeah, for real, man. You know, and you're a pretty deep brother. That's why it would be a crime for me, man, to get you on here and just talk about music, because everybody knows about that already, obviously, right?
Right.
What is your take, man, on the present state that we in, man, as a country?
I think this is revelation. This is a sign of the times. These are things that have been talked about for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. It's actually coming to fruition. You know what I mean? God is allowing things to happen for it. He's giving us this time to wake up, to get into Him, build a better relationship with Him and His family, in your family. You know what I mean? He's giving us time to get knowledge, because in a minute, what if they hop up, and they might do it. They might hop up any day and say, there's no more YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter. What are you going to do? All the information is gone. So, you know, He's giving you time to collect the wisdom. I'm not going to tell you so much because I don't, you know, they clip you. But
man, I'm going to tell you one thing about this, man. One thing about Digital Soapbox is use those platforms, but we not dependent on none of them, because, you know, information is going to get out anyway. So speak your mind, brother.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's all hypothetically, not to go on no hocus pocus shit, but you got to look, right? Shit, who would have thought basketball industries, restaurants would be shut down? You know what I mean? But it's been foretold. So basically, in a nutshell, you even if you don't have the knowledge, put it into your psyche. So that way, the more you think about it, the more it manifests. Where do I need to go so I can survive for my family, career, or things that I need to pivot on? And that's where we at right now. So we also like that in the music. It's like, we're going to put out things that's according to the sign of the times, because really ain't no time to, you know, turn up.
Yeah, this is definitely, man, not no time to play, man. And I really believe, man, like you said, I'm a believer just like you, man. I think we are in the last, you know, I think we in that last chapter right now, man. And this is the time really for us to unify, man, and get our thoughts together, get our money together. You know, it was a couple of things, man, and I'm glad I've learned myself, man, to listen to my spirit, man, because, you know, we've been doing pretty good lately, man. And I remember I was going to get me a three-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to go spend 30 grand on a three-wheeler, man. And that kind of hit me in my mind. I said, you know what, man, this ain't the right time for no investment like this. Just say, hold on to your money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, the next month, the COVID thing hit.
See?
You know what I mean? The next month, the COVID thing hit, man. It's just been like, I just thank God, man, that we are all, you know, me and my homeboys, my compadres, man, we all in a position, man, where we work for ourselves. You know what I mean? So we're not dependent, man, but it's a lot of things, you know, people wondering, man, like, why are these cats out in the street going mad right now? It's like, man, on top of y'all, you know, us constantly getting murdered, it's like murder porn right now, man. You know, on top of us getting murdered, every time you turn on TV, it's one of us getting shot, you know, choked out, knee, neck, man, and stuff. Now we don't have, a lot of us don't have jobs right now. So it's a lot of people out there releasing steam right now. They angry, man. And you know, you add to the point that where they don't know where their next meal is coming from. They out there looting, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, that's why, you know, there's different assignments, you know, there's protesters, there's leaders, there's ones that can influence through music, use their platform, whatever it is. You got to remember the rich man and poor man grave's the same. So it don't matter. Everybody's accountable to do something. And I can only speak for my house, and same thing with you, brother. What we decide to do is gather up more intel and knowledge and really be serious and buckle down on it, you know, because some of the smartest brothers you ever know is not just on the house, it's also behind the walls too. So what we have to do is really look at the next brother and be guilty by association, because I want to be guilty by association with brothers that use their mind to know how to beat this. Yeah, we know how to use this, but we also gonna need this as well as this and this. You know what I mean? But this is the most thing that we need to use.
Mm-hmm.
And for the frontline soldiers out there, you know, you can't look at the next brother, whether some of these brothers got the wrong perception of a lot of things. You know, every great champion in the world done lost a fight in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're Muhammad Ali, you're this important person. But if we don't take this aggression and instead of looking at the next brother as something that we can build intelligently, we'll never give a pass to the brothers, because we'll always be in competition of who say this is important, or who's the genius, or who's that. That's irrelevant right now. We have to take that aggression and love our brothers. You know what I'm saying? Take the aggression to put it towards and get knowledge and wisdom, and take the compassion now and love our brothers. I don't care if your brother's in a wheelchair, if your brother's in sports, if your brother's boxing, if your brother's this, if your brother's in the hood. That's the type of mind state that we're having now. And it's like, I believe these conversations, brother, without preaching to the choir so much, I believe these conversations and who we are and the things that we've been through is the God's going to equip us to what we need to do to really get the message out there, not just on the block, but demographically, because you see what the hell is going on globally now. So God has made us global ambassadors, and it's what we do with this power, because it's power that God has given us too. At the same time, enemy is doing things to confuse things. Oh, please believe God has given those like us, praise God, the power we need. And we got to be responsible. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm for. I'm not gonna, instinct tells me I ain't gonna hug the block with a nigga that I know you got those intentions. I'm gonna hug the block. I'm gonna pray from you from afar, but I'm gonna hug the block and be guilty by associations with people that are using their intelligence and mind.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
Amen, man. Coco, where can people go to find your music at, man? Give me your website and everything, man.
I'm easy to find. You know, it's at buddyboyent.com. That's www.buddyent.com. And you can get the classic Kokane collection. Also, you can reach me, because a lot of people are inquiring about getting hooks. You can reach me on my IG at Kokane, Kokane _OG. That's Kokane _OG_. And just DM me. Ain't hard to find. And we got a lot of singles. Not a lot of singles, but excuse me. We got some singles coming out, you know, from my daughter. She got a project out coming out the top of 2021. It's called Young Colombiana. Her name is Anissa Long. You can follow her at AANISAH_Long, LONG. That's on her IG. She also do hooks like daddy, like daughter. You know what I'm saying? So reach us there and just tap in. And we put out some pretty interesting vibes, you know, for the singles coming out. And my new project, it's called Wake Up to Get Your Cake Up. That'll be coming out sometime in 2021. So we're working, man, and we praying for everybody out there, all the brothers and sisters, and, you know, even across the board, because, you know, we have to put a lot of emphasis on us. But there's some decent white folks out there that is really extending their hearts and raising their voice. So I encourage all the good white people out there to go ahead and if you really want to do something about it, raise your voice.
Exactly, man. You know, this ain't the time to be quiet now. What I'm gonna do, Coco, I'm putting all those links in the description for this interview. So y'all said if y'all want to get this man for a classic hook, man, hit him up. Have your bread ready though, because he not, you know what I'm saying, he not doing no charity. So hit him up.
Work.
Hit him up, no pro bono, man. Well, man, I want to thank you, man, for blessing us, man. God bless, man. You and yours, and we get together. I want to tell you, you know, Mac is working on a new album, Mac 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna link y'all brothers up.
I did something with him. I did a collab single with him. I know he put that up, but telling me he can get a 2 or 3 chicken wing.
Well, I'm telling you, you know, I got my hand in the mix now, man. So I'm gonna make sure you get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we did a collab. Ask him about that record. Still, it's hard.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to hear it, man. But man, we on you, Steal a Spotlight. Another one, man. Like this, comment, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Share with a friend. We out of here. Peace.
Get the latest exclusives, unedited content, live streams with some of Digital Soapbox's most polarizing hosts like James McDonald and others. Sign up for your Digital Soapbox membership today. Packages start from $1.99 to $4.99 monthly, where you not only get exclusive content, but you also get it commercial free. Press that button now.